Thank you for being here. Truly. I know that choosing to listen to a story like this often means you are already carrying something tender of your own. I want to begin by saying this. I am not here because I have it all figured out. I am here because I have been willing, slowly and perfectly, to tell myself the truth. For many years, I believed that love was something you earned by being quieter, softer, easier. I believed that if I could just be more understanding, more patient, more accommodating, harmony would follow. What I did not yet understand was how deeply I had been trained to confuse endurance with devotion. One of my earliest mistakes was believing that my empathy could heal someone who was unwilling to look at themselves. I mistook insight for influence. I believed that if I could just explain things more clearly, love more generously, regulate myself more skillfully, the relationship would change. Another mistake I made was ignoring my body. My body knew long before my mind did. It tightened, braced, it went quiet. And instead of listening, I taught myself to override it because that too felt familiar. He did not begin cruel. He began attentive. His intensity felt like intimacy to someone who had grown up under watchful control rather than steady care. When this attention shifted into scrutiny, I told myself it was concern. When anger appeared, I searched myself for the error. I was very good at that, finding the fault in myself. It was a skill I learned long before him. I also stayed longer than I should have, not because I was weak, but because leaving felt like abandonment, and I had been taught that abandonment was the greatest harm. I believed that loyalty meant staying, even when staying was costing me myself, my sense of self. That belief nearly broke me. The moment everything changed was not dramatic. There was no final argument, no cinematic exit. There was instead clarity. I realized that I had been raised to mistake control for love, silence for safety, and emotional labor for worth. And once I saw that pattern, I could no longer participate in it without betraying myself. I do not speak about this with bitterness. I speak about it with responsibility. I understand the psychological mechanisms at play: trauma bonding, intermittent reinforcement, nervous system survival responses. Understanding these freed me from shame, but it also required me to take ownership of my healing. I had to learn that compassion does not mean self-erasure, that patience is not a virtue when it is used against you, that love without boundaries is not love, it is survival. Today, I speak calmly, not because I am untouched by what happened, but because my worth is no longer up for negotiation. I choose clarity over chaos, consistency over intensity, peace over performance. I am still gentle, I am still loving, but I am no longer compliant with harm. Healing did not make me harder. It made me more honest. If you hear pieces of yourself in this story, I want you to know you are not late. You are not broken, and you are not weak. You adapted. Did you hear that? You adapted beautifully to what you were given. Now you are allowed to choose something different. Thank you so very much for listening. Your presence here matters more than you may realize.